Hello guys, my name is Shadow, and today I'll be showing you all the settings I use in Battlefield 4. You can see my game probably looks a little different from yours. That's also not just because I have different settings likely, but that's also what I use with the Nvidia game filters. So let's go over the in-game ones first. So, gameplay. 12% sensitivity for 400 dpi, that's something under 45 centimeters for 360 degree turn. That's very important, so I can turn behind me if I have my mouse in the center of the mat. Raw mouse input, minimal difference these days. Reticle look, whatever. Vehicle aim, relative control, whatever. These things also don't really do much. Vibration definitely off. Uniform soldier aiming, very useful thing. What it basically does, it tries to make it so that when you zoom in, well, this is not exactly much zoom, let me show a bit more zoom. When you zoom in, then the distances, you have to basically move your mouse to get somewhere on the screen, try to stay the same. Which is rather interesting, like it doesn't really do much. I will explain why shortly. The most important one is this soldier zoom sensitivity. This, if you are using just a regular zoomed in sights like I have, basically, well, they have like almost no zoom. Like you can see, the things barely get any closer. Then I found out that 105% is just the right amount to keep the same 360 distance. Decouple, aiming from turning, whatever. Yeah, these things, I don't use iron sights or long range scopes, or like you could try and change it. I basically only use red dot sights. You probably never want to use anything different anyway. Gameplay, this is some of the more important stuff, because this is, let's be honest, mostly personal preference. Of course, except some of these really obvious ones, like no vibration. Weapon zoom, definitely you want to have this on click button, or you want to have it on hold button and use a macro to hold the button down when you click it. Steady scope, useless. Soldier sprint, probably holding. Vehicle same. You can try to have it activatable, but like holding shift is not a big deal. Like it doesn't impact your aiming or anything, unlike holding the right mouse button. Yeah, basically hide all of these hints. Game mode messages, whatever. Squad join with friends, very nice to have. Now we get into the more important stuff. Context-based order giving, basically when you spot things, sometimes you can be a squad leader and then you will sort of give an order to attack an objective instead of spotting the person if they are basically in the same, like in line with the objective icon, which is annoying. Double tap forward to sprint, this is basically Minecraft stuff. Jet chase camera, I like to turn my camera with the jet because it's more consistent with other games like Arma or GTA that I play. Parachute auto deploy. This thing, I have got probably hundreds of kills on people who don't have this off. Basically what this does is if you spawn on an objective, like for example in Global Railway there's a train objective, where if you spawn on it you will start falling down to the ground, and if you have this set to on, it will open the parachute really high in the sky, which basically is automatically death, since anything looking in the sky just destroys you, mainly vehicles, but even people. And you also spawn like this when you spawn on beacons on certain game modes, on certain maps. Auto leaning, insanely annoying. I can show you what this does if you have this enabled. It does sort of this thing where you, maybe here I can show you. Yeah, it sort of does this with your head instead of moving normally. If you stand next to a corner and aim, this is ridiculous and it gets you killed. Because what it also does, it makes you an easier target. Because the peeking might look nice, but actually, like, almost your entire body peeks out, and you just see half your screen, which is just flat out disadvantage. These things, mostly personal preference. I don't use most of the HUD, to be honest. I don't like it. Like, the less stuff you have blinking and moving on your screen, the easier it's to focus on actually shooting the people in front of you. I also don't need to know my loadout. I know what I select in the deploy screen. Minimap, 200% always. This is kind of personal preference. Icons visibility, you always want to be able to clearly see the icons on your minimap. I like to have it on the minimal size, but also you want to have the maximum scale, which is 150 meters. So you have like the biggest area on your minimap. And if you have such big area, if you have big icons, you can kind of get lost. It's really overpowered in like TDM, where you basically see the entire map. Icon scale, I have the maximum scale, so this doesn't affect any much. Minimap rotation, yes, definitely on. Like, it's so weird to have this off. I can show you what this does. Like, you can see I'm rotating, but the minimap is not. This is insanely weird, in my opinion, and like no other games do this, so please don't use that. I have all of my reticles disabled because I'm using a screen dot. You would just set these to 100%. Same with the glow on this thing. And size, especially on the red dot, you want to have the smallest possible. Or rather, in this case, green, because green is like the best color to look at for the human eye. Basic reticle, pretty much the same thing for the vehicles. I have it set to black because it makes guiding tow missiles a lot easier with the vehicle HUD when it's dark, especially like on bright maps. Specialized vehicle HUD, whatever, like most of these are completely irrelevant what you select, to be honest. Hit indicator, this is basically hit markers. White for normal hits, green for headshots, since that usually we associate green with something good, and red for kills. Basically, this just tells you to stop firing, since we usually associate red with something bad. Common HUD world icons, probably smallest ones, usually objectives and things like that. Scale with distance, definitely, just to make it smaller. Yeah, this is the same for enemy. This is useful to not have it to scale. That way you can actually use the icons, for example if you're in vehicles, to hit targets that are out of render distance. Field armor icon is pretty nice sometimes, if you are playing as a sniper, or just in general tells you what your enemies are equipped with, which is always good. Yes, this friendly health bar disabled for when I'm in zoom. I don't want to see this stuff. You might even want to experiment around with these, disabling some of these. Yeah, that's mostly everything, ranks, whatever, vehicle occupants, class. is kind of nice, so you know if you have even engineer or if your friend has messed up. These things, whatever, probably just hide all of them. On bandwidth usage on. I hope it helps. I never found a way to properly test it. I usually have this on 20%, but the drone flying above me is so loud on this map I have to lower it. Headphones, stereo, basically just what you're using. VoIP definitely off, like you don't want to hear random people shouting in your microphone. That's annoying. Yeah, graphic settings, another interesting one. Mesh quality ultra, everything else low. Some cases, like if you are flying the scout heli, you want to have effects and textures on ultra, so when you are hitting someone you can clearly see the hits on them with the minigun. But usually it doesn't matter, I mostly kill people anyway without it. Brightness 100%, like you don't want to make it harder for yourself to see people in dark corners. Vertical sync always off on any game. Field of view maximum, vehicle field of view maximum again. Motion blur 0, it basically blurs out your screen, this is terrible. Weapon blur, why would I use this? Colorblind I'm not. If you are, use whatever is the best for you. Key bindings. If there is one thing you take away from this video, please take away spotting on the right mouse button. This is such an insane advantage over people. Like, how many cases you have aimed at a guy, maybe even shot at him, and then he hides behind the corner and you don't know when is he flanking around something, or is he waiting there for me, or is he running back? Well, now that's not a problem, since when you aim at someone you will spot him. It's so overpowered. Like, it's basically the auto spotting thing from the carbines from the Final Stand DLC, but on all weapons for free. So yeah, it's overpowered. Here are my keybinds, if you are interested. You can copy those. I don't play too much in jets, so yeah. Vehicles, switching weapons is really nice, and switching seats is also really useful. Only case where this can be a problem is when you have grenade. and like if you are in a scout helicopter, it will try to throw grenades. That's the only kind of minor issue, but it's so much more convenient to have it on a key that's really close to me. Okay, so this is basically all there is for the in-game stuff. Like I said, most of this is personal preference. Like you can see, I don't like to have a lot of the icons when I ADS, but when I don't, I want to see them. So especially if you like throw smoke, it makes it very easy to see people if you have them nice and big. Now let's go over to the Nvidia stuff. It's the GeForce whatever overlay experience thing. So yeah, for the filters, sharpening, I don't use it anyway. Like I'm not using anti-aliasing in any way, so there's minimal reason to sharpen. Like you can see how some of the things become, well, too sharp, and like it doesn't make any sense to have it. Like it doesn't make it easier to see some of the vehicles. Color, I use vibrance 50%. Some people go crazy with it and like 100%, and even install something to even more increase it. Clarity, you definitely want to have this at 100%. Like it basically blurs out your screen, which is horrible. Hdr toning is cute. Like it kind of removes shadows, one makes a lot of things look really weird, so I rather not use it. Bloom, terrible, always minimal. It basically just makes everything like bright as the sun, or basically cover your screen like a sun. Brightness and contrast, this is the most important thing. This is kind of how you would see normally. You can see on the black or dark green box on the right side where I have my cursor how much easier is it to see things, especially when I increase it. This is insanely overpowered, especially on maps with dark corners. So yeah, that's probably all I've gotten for you today for these settings. I hope this helps you, especially the spotting thing. Like, it's insanely overpowered to be able to do this. Yeah, on these boats it's kind of janky, but it works really nice on players. Since it works better the closer you are. But I also use a key for it, so I can do both. Especially when I'm flying in a vehicle, I don't need to press right mouse button. I can also show you the HUD, how it looks inside the vehicles. You can see it's pitch black, basically. And it's really nice if you are aiming high in the clouds, or even around leaves. Like, also the tow missile is bright, so like guiding it is a lot easier. Same with the tanks. Like here I am using thermals, so it doesn't matter. Same actually here. This is not the loadout video for vehicles, so please don't take it as one. Like you can see, the colors are definitely not something you would want to use to stay hidden, but we used this in tournaments to make the vehicles a bit more visible. Same with the scout heli. This is annoying with the right mouse button spotting, but I rarely have to look around, especially when I can use first person. Yeah, attack helicopter, the same thing. It really helps on the attack helicopter because you can see a lot of the HUD is, well, not really visible, and that really helps. Like if I would change this to vehicle, it's like green, you can see there was a lot more stuff on the screen that would distract you. Like right now I can just focus on what's important. Like I don't need to know the number of meters I'm in the sky, and especially I don't need to blink. Also, if you are pretty good at flying, like you don't even need to know like when ECM is active or when it's recharging. Like you probably just guess it, to be honest, and or use the audio cues. So yeah, that's definitely all for today. Have a nice day. And please like and subscribe.